people, let's get going today so that we can be on time for our dismissal at 11. Okay, I wanted to make 2 quick announcements and then we're going to turn it over to senior speeches. Bus is running, so bus riders straight to the senior speeches. And 2, there is no remote learning this afternoon for C and D blocks, but the homework that is still expected. It's not a no homework night, okay? So it's just C and D blocks, no class. Enjoy the snow. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Miss Kate Jones. Thank you.
Good morning, Upper School. Welcome to our first round of senior speeches for 2022 for the class of 2022. Our first speaker today is Ben Pierre.
I am standing in front of you all to present the first senior speech of 2022. For some of us, this will be our last semester at collegiate, and for others, there are still plenty more semesters to go. However, regardless of whether or not it's your last semester at collegiate, we've all just spent some time away from school, so I wanted to talk about some of the places that make it so special, starting with the room we are in now. Right now, you're all sitting in the auditorium. I am standing at this podium where thousands of seniors have stood before to senior speech. Listened to around 100 speeches over the 4 years I've been at collegiate. We've heard a plethora of different speeches, including funny speeches like Isaiah Winder being allergic to fruit and Michael hating running, and also more serious speeches like Eku being grateful for life and the people in it. The auditorium has also hosted its seemingly impossible bean challenges, and we have all been made witness to Mr. Carr's angelic singing of the announcements. We have also listened to the Equality Coalition speak about pride and heard snippets of the orchestra. Whatever the event may be, the auditorium has always been associated with the feeling of coming together. Collegiate has a way of coming together like no other school can. I'll miss that feeling. The lunchroom. This is probably the space that has evolved years in the upper school. Freshman and sophomore year, the lunchroom was chaotic. The 8-chair tables were just a starting place for us as we learned that at least 12 chairs could fit the round tables. Conversation was always loud, and if you could hear the people sitting across the table from you, then that means you were doing a good job. That took a drastic turn when COVID hit. Upon coming back to in-person school the following year, we were greeted with 3-chair plexiglass tables in the tent. The dining experience was completely polarized. Conversation was made difficult with plexiglass surrounding our every side, but at least we were quiet. Then, senior year has been the perfect mix of loud and quiet. The removed plexiglass has made it so that we can all speak to each other comfortably, but there are not enough of us so close together that we are overly loud. The lunchroom has taught me the balance of having enough social stimulation in and out of school. Next, the gym. My first memories of being in the gym consisted of freshman year gym class. The freshman boys, myself definitely included, would race out of the locker room, having no regard for anyone who stood in the way, just so that we could get the best basketball to play with. Once all the kids had bolted from the locker room, we would make teams to compete in an extremely intense basketball game. No one took it easy on one another, and there was one kid in particular who would never accept defeat as an option. Although a very popular SoundCloud rapper now, he used to be a young Shaquille O'Neal. He gave his 100% for every second of the game. If he wasn't airballing threes, he was absolutely bullying some innocent kid to get to the basket. After about 5 uncontested layups, he would get a huge 2 points for his team. He was a problem. The gym has hosted a number of different memories. When it was too hot or rainy for practice at Champions Trace, the soccer team would find its ways to the gym. I always had fun having practice in the gyms as it always meant that we were going to play a lot and do drills less. Before practice, we would mess around, juggle, and test everyone's ability to touch the net. Don't worry, Peter, you'll get there. Playing short-sighted games were always competitive because if you lost, then it meant less time to actually be playing. The gym has always brought out my competitiveness. Obviously, the rooms I spoke about were only a few places that make collegiate what it is. I could have spoken more about Spencer, Eku, and I having deep conversations in the Go to Club bathrooms last year, having to do track practice down on the basement level hallway, where we did the terrible, terrible running drills involving wickets, or the countless other memories. The point is, I have created countless amount of memories at Collegiate that have helped to form me into the person I am today. So I want to say thank you to all the people and the building for giving me 4 wonderful years. It is the people that make a place what it is. Thank you.
Our second speaker today is William Robbins. William will be introduced by his dad, Keith Robbins.
Good morning. I'm Keith Robbins. I'm William's biological father. But I did not meet William till he was 12. And the reason for that is that I brought my wife to the hospital, and as she was dilating, the doctor pulled out his clipboard and he was reading, or he was talking to us. All of a sudden he stopped and he asked me to go down to the cafeteria and get a Pepsi. So I went down to get a Pepsi. When I got back, William was 12 minutes old. Apparently they keep notes in your medical records about what happened, about like the past. And my older son, I had nearly passed out when he was born. So the doctor thought it was best that I not be in the room. So I have 2 quick stories about William. On a vacation when William was about 10 or 11, we rented bicycles. And we got all our bikes lined up outside in front of the store, and William was quiet. I wasn't really paying attention, but apparently my wife and his older brother Henry knew something wasn't wrong. And finally I dialed in and I said, "What's wrong, William?" He said, "I don't like this color." I said, "Color? You don't like the color of your bicycle? This is like a 4-hour rental. You don't need to be worrying about the color." So fast forward 7 or 8 years, and I take William on some college visits. We go to the first school, and we're about in the middle of the tour, and I notice that the school's colors are red and white. And red's not one of my favorite colors. And I'm thinking about this bicycle event. Surely I'm not going to say anything to William about the color. So then William taps me on the shoulder. I swear, it was like right as I was having this thought about the color, William taps me and says, "Daddy, I can't go to this school. Look at the logo." And he points over to a maintenance van that was driving by that had the logo of the school. And I looked over and I'm like, "Oh man, there's no way you're going to this school." So the minute the tour was over, we got in the car and we left. And I guess the lesson of that story is that William had shown maturity to know the difference between putting up with something for 4 hours and putting up with something for 4 years. And without further ado, to talk to you about girls, William Robbins.
As many of you know, Brownsboro Hardware and Paint. Brownsboro Hardware and Paint is a locally owned and operated hardware store. That, combined with a workforce made up of mostly retirees and kids getting their first jobs, is what makes the hardware store so special. All of my coworkers are like my family, and they've taught me so much about hardware. The hardware store also taught local businesses. This newfound local love finished a lesson which Jack Black had instilled in me through School of Rock many years ago. I knew that I hated the man, I just didn't know why until the hardware store. I am now a proud hater of Home Depot. I realize that local businesses have the ability to care for their employees and help their community. I've learned that building and repairing things with my own 2 hands is the most rewarding work for me. But the thing I build and repair most is grills. Grills themselves have also taught me a lot about myself. Firstly, they made me realize that I love manual labor. I liked making things before I started working at the hardware store, but building thousands of grills is another thing. When I first started at the hardware store, I was immediately assigned to the grill building. Normally, every other new kid ends up grill building when they start. I slowly came to realize that no one else liked building grills. As all the other kids started helping customers with more and more tasks, they rarely built grills anymore. I was continuously stuck on grill building duty because of my speedy, fast hands. When I was 17, the owner of the hardware store entered me in a grill building competition, which ended up never happening. Now, as I wrote this, I realized that there may have never been a competition at all, and he just wanted me to speed build grills. However, that no longer matters to me, as out of all that practice came my greatest achievement. I unboxed and built a Weber Spirit 2 E210 with a folding side shelf and built-in propane scale in 20. This earned me the nickname The Machine from my manager, Doug. But I don't just build grills, I also clean grills and repair grills. Surprisingly, I have absolutely no grilling experience whatsoever. I have only 6 mediocre burgers to my name. I'm not even in grilling, I just love barbecue sauce. Cleaning grills is a beast of its own. I was taught how to clean grills over the summer by being handed a bucket of tools and being told what day my first 3 cleanings were. I've cleaned over 50 grills, some of which were owned by the parents of people in this room, and all I can say is, ew. Please just empty out the grease regularly. I have filled a 5-gallon bucket with black ash and grease. At least check your grill for wasps. I have had to exterminate too many wasps in order to clean people's grills. One lady even asked me to exterminate the other wasps she had. She was out of town, so I just told her, sorry, I don't have a ladder. She told me that she had one in her unlocked garage, and so I got Venmo'd $40 to exterminate wasps while on a grill cleaning. I even cleaned John Yarmouth's grill. It actually took me over 30 minutes to realize that it was his, even after seeing all the yard signs in his garage and all the political cartoons he had on the wall. He also did not tip, so I'm never voting for him, and I recommend you all don't either. Grill cleaning is an odd job because I showed up to these people's houses covered in grease with 2 5-gallon buckets. Some people were very surprised to see me arrive at their house after having called the hardware store to get a professional grill cleaning. What all these people apparently did not know is that it doesn't take a professional to clean a grill. Many of these people got yearly grill cleanings, and I don't think they cleaned it all in between that. Honestly, one of the notable parts of that job was all the awkward situations it put me in. No one knows what to call me, and surprisingly, the majority of people address me as the grill man. Being in high school while also having the hardware store claim I was a professional grill cleaner was a very weird experience. I felt like a fraud, but it was a lot of fun. Many customers had the delusion that grill cleaning is some sort of special job like calling a plumber. I realized that although all the customers were much older than me, I actually had all the control. My favorite technique was to do nothing with that control. People get very confused when you don't have any format. It makes them think you don't know what you're doing. I had way too much fun making customers really nervous, only to magically reveal that I actually had cleaned their grill. A good lesson that I learned is to speak with confidence, especially when you actually know what you're talking about. I've been judged for my age time and time again at the hardware store. I learned to laugh at it. It's hilarious watching customers decline my help and favor one of the new retirees, only to be turned right back to me. Working is fulfilling and has given me a sense of purpose. After doing busy work at school all day, contributing to the workforce makes a day feel less wasted. Working for the hardware store and being trusted to do such a wide variety of tasks is something I'm very proud of. I think that everyone should get a job as soon as they're old enough. It's important to find something completely unrelated to school that you're passionate about. For me, it's grills. Building them, cleaning them, delivering them, basically anything but actually cooking on them. Thanks.
Our third.
Hold on.
We're good. Okay. Our third speaker today is Nolan Smith. Nolan will be introduced by his grandmother, Beth Downing.
William's a hard act to follow. My name is Beth Downing, and it is with great pleasure, love, and honor to introduce my grandson, Nolan Smith. I am very proud of Nolan's accomplishments, not only as a student, but also an athlete, but as a fine young man he has become. With love and respect, Nolan Smith.
Do you ever feel like the world is sometimes filled up with too many words? With phones and computers allowing for the easy sharing of information and the interconnected nature of the modern world, the newest generations have grown up hearing a lot of different words. While information can be good, after all, we wouldn't be in the current era without having built on the information we had collected, sometimes too much can be overwhelming and scary. For this reason, I firmly believe that simply assigning a single word to an object can describe it more succinctly than drawing out some long-winded speech. If it were my choice, I would describe everything I could in one word, leaving any time slot left for me absent of a voice, distinctly because I would have nothing more to say. Honestly, my fondness for a single tidy description is why I started doing word of the day for myself. What is Nolan's word of the day routine, you ask? I keep a note open on my phone for every day that goes by, and I describe that day in just a single word. And sometimes more, but that is only on rare occasions, and you can't tell anyone I said that or it would ruin the meaning of my senior speech. If I were to go back through this running sheet on my phone and remember the days, I'd find the emotions that had filled up my day. Some good, some bad. I'd find fond memories with my brother as we talked in the car together. I'd find days of turmoil that bring back memories I'd forgotten. I'd find parts of myself. And in thinking about this part of my routine, I came across the revelation that honestly, most people too can be described in a single word. Some people are like puppies. Small, feisty for their size, really dwarfed by all the other dogs around them. Others are like knives, sharp, somewhat dangerous looking, but helpful and handy to have around. And in looking back on my own words for the day, I realized that I can also be described in one word. I am a Pez. That's right, the little candy dispensers with any multitude of characters as toppers. Now, what could I possibly feel about myself that resembles that of an inexpensive stocking stuffer dispenser? I psychically hear you asking. And my answer is simple. The purpose of Pez is to give. They literally distribute candy while also making for a silly and cute novelty. And while I may not feel like the sole purpose of my life is to give everything I have, I cannot help but feel like I get really close to the edge of just transforming into a little trinket someone might pull out of their pocket and ask so politely, maybe as an offering of peace, maybe as a continuing of a friendship, want a Pez? Because at the end of the day, while Pez is nice while it's full, it's useless when it's empty. But it just keeps on giving and giving everything it has until it's exhausted its last candy. And with the tilt of its head, the Pez showcases how used up it has truly gotten. I remember a long time ago when I was just a simple candy dispenser, so eager to give what I had to those around me who just needed something sweet to get them through the day. I gave and gave and gave everything I could, never really expecting or even wanting anything in return. I just gave and gave and gave, until eventually and unavoidably, I would run dry. I was empty. I tried to give, but I had nothing left in me to give. I felt useless, unable to do the one thing I thought I was made to do. As a distributor with nothing to distribute, what use did I have? I couldn't find a meaning for my life until I spent time away from people and away from the guilt I would feel for not being able to offer up some part of myself. During this time, I found the key that I had been looking for. I learned the importance of a refill. I learned that I couldn't always find the time to give if I also didn't find myself the time to restock. Just like the next move someone might make when they find an empty Pez, I found some time to be by myself and open up a new pack, maybe a new flavor while I was at it, and come back out ready to give again. I found that while making other people made me happy, I couldn't just make other people be the only reason for my own happiness. It became just as important to focus on myself and make sure that I wasn't just running on empty as it was to make sure that when I was full, I could give amply. So if you find yourself feeling empty sometimes, maybe because someone was rude enough to take what you didn't want to give, or you feel worn out from everything going on, or maybe you find that you gave a little bit too much, just remember that you have to take the time for a little refill. And I don't know, even if you didn't like my speech, you all could find it within yourselves to give me a little praise with a standing ovation as I walk over to my seat. Thank you, and have a great break.
Keep clapping, one more round. Here we go. Good job, guys. Well done. Excellent speeches. Enjoy the snow. Drive carefully. See you guys soon.